Yes, Speedy Dollars back for another video, and today I'm discussing and I'm telling you why I think it's the bottom of the market. We've seen the bottom for the foreseeable future. I'm talking the next 2, 3, 4 months, possibly even till the end of the year. But before we get our hopes up, I just want to make something exactly clear to you lot watching. Any investor, any person that's in stocks right now, anyone who's wondering whether to get in stocks, anyone who's listening to me talking about stocks, you've got to understand that nobody knows for 100%. Nobody knows where the bottom of the market will be, okay? I can only make a prediction based on what I see in the markets. I can only make a judgment call on what I see economically wise, but of course I could be wrong. To say that someone knows 100% where the bottom of the market is, they must have like some black ball or to see through the future, some time machine rubbish, alright? Because it's impossible. No one could predict the war between Russia and Ukraine. No one could predict the COVID crisis. No one could predict whether inflation would reach 8.6% a year and a half ago. No one could say that, okay? No one knows news stories that could come out. Nobody knows, okay? But what we can do is make judgment calls based on history, based on the past, based on technical analysis, based on news that's coming out now, and we can make an educated guess of where we think the market might be heading in the future. But of course, we could still be wrong. So make sure you get that clear. And now let's move on to why I think this is the bottom of the market. Now we're just going to start off with some technical analysis on the monthly chart. And here up on your screens right now, we have Apple. Now, of course, we've seen a massive sell-off in Apple in recent months. This is, obviously, each candlestick represents 1 month. But normally we see markets retrace. Now, look at the sort of levels we've seen. Boom, boom, boom. 3 red straight months for Apple in a row. And of course, June was terrible as well. Of course, this is the month of July, and obviously we were up on Friday. That was the 1st of July, so that's why you see a bit of green here today. I think we're retracing back to this sort of level that I've marked out here, this sort of rectangle you're seeing. I think we're going to have a retracement. I think we're going to come back to this rectangle here, just from a technical analysis perspective, because we've got an area of support here. This was previous resistance, the market got pushed down. It came up, previous resistance, market got pushed down. Came up, boom, used the support, pushed up. Now we're back to that sort of level, so hopefully we can use it as support again and bounce up again. We could also have a head and shoulders pattern. Now if I mark out the head and shoulders pattern with a horizontal line here, we could see something along the lines of where we've got one shoulder here, a head here, and then if we pop back to this area, we've got a shoulder, and then we crash through. Because of course, longer term, if you've been watching BG Dollars, you'll know that I am not bullish on stocks or the S&P 500 longer term. I'm talking when we're at 2026, 2027. I think Apple could be around the $100 range, easy, in the sort of 2025, 2026 down here. But we've got a brief push up, in my opinion. Of course, if we have a look at the SPY, the S&P 500, again, look, we've had a big sell-off, and that will mean that we have a pullback. Okay. Every time the market don't just go bomb straight down, don't just drop off a cliff, we'll always have a pullback. And that's what I expect there. I expect us to come possibly back up to this line at 416. This would be the target level for a little pullback. Am I going to say that's going to happen in July? No, I don't think that will quite happen in July. I think we're going to see at September, October, S&P up here around the 400, 420 range, around this sort of area. Now, of course, if you've been watching my BG Dollars video, and I made a video on my 2 most recent investments, which were, of course, Roku was one of them. Again, we can see on the monthly chart, these are all monthly charts, huge support area at this $78 range, and we are right there right now, and we've hit it a few times. Of course, if you've watched my videos, then you'll know about this black line here. And why is it a huge support area? Well, in 2018, we came up, we couldn't get past the black line, we sold off and we pushed straight back down. Again, look, sort of this area, March 2019, we couldn't get above it. Eventually, we flew up it in May 2019. We came back to the area and boom, we couldn't get below the black line now. In March 2020, April 2020, obviously the COVID crash brought it down and we couldn't get below the black line. And then we just skyrocketed on an unbelievable scale. And if you're buying up here, ridiculous, because it was so overblown The market was so overbought. The prices didn't make sense for stocks at this sort of range. And now, of course, we've sold off massively. And again, there's been no retracement. We've just had a straight down, which is very rare. And it doesn't normally happen. And of course, we've come back to this black line where, of course, we bounced off it here. Are we going to bounce off it again? Well, of course, I think we will. That's why I've bought some Roku. We look into Shopify now. That's what I'm saying. It's not happening to one stocks, people. This is many stocks just across the board. We've got the S&P down. We've got the Apple down. We've got Roku down. We've got Shopify. All coming down to key areas where you would expect a market bounce, a sort of market move upwards. Again, look at this. Boom, in 3rd of June, we came up to the black line. We sold off there and we pushed up, but look, we used it as support. We came back to the black line and boom, we bounced straight off it. And again, this red candlestick right here, if you see the wick on it, the candle wick, it reached this black line and we bought straight off. And look what happened. We've reached the black line again. And that's why I've bought Shopify. Not the only reason, but again, from a technical analysis perspective, it's in favour. Now, of course, we have just started July, haven't we? It was a pretty boring day today in the market. Well, it weren't even open, was it? That's what I'm saying. It was boring because it was bank holiday. Independence Day, of course. Now, I'm from the UK, so that was just a bit of a disappointment. But, of course, you understand the celebrations and all that. We have them over here. So, let's just get into the news for the month. What I think the biggest news, maybe mark the dates if you want. If you don't want to, that's fine. But please do subscribe, okay? If you're watching right now, do subscribe because we're chasing 100 subscribers by the end of the year. And I really would love to hit that target. And if we can do that, that would be amazing. So yeah, please do subscribe. And of course, leave a like and comment. Comment maybe what stocks you're buying. Because I think we're going to have a risk-on period. But as I said earlier, nobody knows for 100%, right? Nobody knows. It's just my opinion from my perspective. Wednesday, 6th of July, had JOLTS job openings. Of course, I think big thing on Wednesday would be the FOMC meeting minutes. Maybe we get a little snippet into the interest rate decision. But of course, Friday, huge day this Friday. We've got hourly earnings, we've got non-farm employment change, unemployment rate. And of course, if you haven't watched my Finance Friday videos, then you haven't seen my predictions. But every Friday I do a stream at 7 p.m. GMT. I go through all the week ahead, all the news ahead, and I give my predictions. And yeah, I've given my predictions for all of these. Check them out if you wanna see what I think is gonna happen. Of course, next Wednesday, a week Wednesday, we have CPI. Huge numbers there. Huge. That's going to be very, very important for the markets. And of course, I've been saying for a few videos that I think inflation is going to come down less than expected. Of course, we haven't actually got an expected figure here because it is a week Wednesday's time. So I'll have to see what it comes out. And I'll be making a video on it. So do subscribe to see all the latest sort of news and everything. PPI comes out on Thursday, July 14th. Core retail sales will be an interesting one. Of course, we're going to get like a sort of consumer sentiment there. Oh, well, we get consumer sentiment on the Friday as well. But in terms of retail sales, I like to see that because then it just shows how much, whether the consumer's still spending their hard-earned cash. And of course, we want consumers to spend hard-earned cash because that means business growth. And if it means business growth, then it means stocks rise. And that's the end goal for investors, isn't it? Of course, Friday, July 2022, we have flash services. Of course, Wednesday, July the 27th. We have the Fed funds rate, of course, the interest rate, if you didn't know it was called the funds rate. And, of course, the FOMC press conference. Now, sometimes I believe that the actual press conference after is more important than the actual funds rate itself. Because that's when you get some juicy questions asked by some journalists. I don't know who they are, but they're like economists, whatever. They ask some juicy questions at Jerome Powell. And sometimes he stumbles about, he doesn't really know how to answer them. But he does his best. But of course, we get some answers there, which I like. So of course, the next day again huge. We've got the GDP quarter on quarter. Of course, that's when we're going to find out we are in a recession right now, are we? So I mean, we're going to find out that when that GDP comes out. So if that comes out negative, then officially we are in a recession because we will have 2 negative GDPs quarter on quarter. And then on the Friday to finish off the month, you have core PCE. Again, that's what the Fed likes to see. Of course, in June, we had a less than expected core PCE, which was surprising. So that's what I mean. That's why I'm excited for the Fed funds rate. I mean, not the Fed funds rate, the FOMC meeting minutes, which is happening this Wednesday, because I think they'll mention that core PCE that came up less than expected. So yes, that is what we've got coming up in the news. Of course, I think the stock market is going to rally. I think that stocks are going to do very well in the next 2 to 3 months. I've been saying this. I think this is the market bottom, folks. I really do. Of course, nobody knows 100%, and I will keep saying that throughout the channel because it's true, right? Don't be thinking that BG Dollars has said it, so I'm going to invest, right? I'm no financial advisor. I don't know whether that will be the market bottom, but of course, I can only suggest what I'm thinking, and that's what I do, and I share that with you guys. Please do subscribe. As I said, we're chasing down 100 subscribers, so please do. If you're still watching at this point, then you've clearly liked it. I mean, come on now. And yeah, you may as well subscribe. So yeah, do that. Leave a like on it as well. You may as well do that whilst you're at it. And yeah, BG Dollars, I'll see you in the next one.